Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It is Friday, so you know what it is? The Friday News Dump. We're going to read all the stories we found in the news that we care about talking about here on the Father and Daughter News Podcast, the comprehensive news of planet Earth, where we don't read. We don't read? Yeah, we can't read. Where we read our headlines 10 to 15 minutes before we start without any caffeine in our bodies, which is why we're a little kooky. So, what are in these headlines today? Today on Before Coffee, Norway reports first cases of bluetongue disease. Elon Musk's StarLink satellites wreak havoc in Earth's orbit.
And we go to Kentucky. In Kentucky, there's a body found near the site of the Interstate 75 shooter. Kentucky sheriff shoots a judge.
Coming out of France, the new Prime Minister Michel Barnier is looking at the budget, and it's going to be a hard fix. Germany has stopped approving war weapons exports to Israel. Great job.
And hacking news, the FBI shuts down a botnet run by Beijing, and Iranian hackers had offered the Trump information to Biden, and Biden turned it down.
Previously unknown Mozart music discovered in a German library, and hundreds of cultural events to kick off for European Heritage Days.
And it's National String Cheese Day. It is September 20th, 2024 on Before Coffee.
Just save all your stories for Friday because we will talk about all of them. Just all of the stories. To be fair, some of these are quite short, so it's not actually going to be that long. I think it's probably going to be just as long as our Thursdays. So, first story, very short update coming out of Norway. This is on AP News. Norway reported Thursday, which was what, the 18th of, the 18th. I can do math. No, the 19th. Sorry, I can't do math. The 19th of September, dozens of confirmed and suspected cases of bluetongue, an insect-borne virus that is harmless to humans but can be fatal to sheep and other livestock for the first time in the country since 2009. The Norwegian Veterinary Institute said the virus known as bluetongue stereotype 3, or BTV3, was first detected in livestock in southern Norway on September 6th. The Institute said the cases follow outbreaks of bluetongue in several European countries. Cases have also been reported in Sweden, Denmark, Germany, and the Netherlands and France. Oh no, that's where I live. The disease is spread by midges and ticks that are typically found in warmer weather. Well, say goodbye to your steaks because they're going to quarantine all their cows probably and have to unfortunately kill off a lot of them because they're probably going to die since it's fatal. In Sweden, cases were reported this week along the country's west coast, and earlier this month, several cases in Denmark prompted zoos and animal parks to protectively vaccinate animals to try and contain the spread. The first case in Denmark was recorded in early August on a Danish farm with sheep and cows near the German border. Damn Germans spreading bluetongue! Symptoms in animals include high fever, mouth ulcers, swelling of the face and tongue, as well as a blue color of the tongue known as cyanosis, stemming from the lack of oxygen. Sheep, cattle, and goats may also have breathing difficulties. Infected animals yield less milk, though this milk is safe for human consumption, authorities said. Yeah, I don't think we should be milking sick cows. I think we should either help them, give them a vaccine or a treatment, or if you're more on the cost efficiency side of that equation, quarantine them and unfortunately mercy kill them so that they don't spread their disease to anything else. So, like what they do with the bird flu. When you have the bird flu in your chickens, unfortunately you just have to throw the whole flock away because you don't want it to be spreading to other farms, and it will spread to other farms. And you probably got it because it spread to your farm. And that's kind of the problem with, if you want to run a farm, you have to be able to cut your losses. And a lot of farmers don't like doing that. They like to make as much profits as possible because it is a business. At least European farmers. In other completely unrelated news. Sorry?
You gotta throw out the milk too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you can't have any fluids to spread the disease around.
They're just going to end up slaughtering
It's
them all.
really tragic, honestly. I'm not happy that, a bunch of bovines have to be taken out. Elon Musk's, in other news, Elon Musk's StarLink satellites are blocking the skies. So if you think you're looking at Saturn, it's probably just a satellite. This is from Julia Musto on The Independent. Elon Musk's Starlink satellites are wreaking havoc in Earth's orbit and destroying astronomers' ability to observe distant planets and stars, scientists have told The Independent. The European Low Frequency Array Radio Telescope Network, or LOFAR, has examined faint and distant objects across the universe since 2012 to help discover black holes and look for exoplanets. But in the 5 years since Musk's private company, SpaceX, began launching its Starlink satellites, an escalation in radio wave emission has made it much harder for LOFAR to make observations. Yes. I don't know if any of you probably talked about this before, because this has come up before. There's a reason why our telescopes are in the middle of nowhere on mountains, and that's because there's no radio waves over there. It's completely and totally isolated from all the distracting things that stop the technology from working. But now, because of the abundance of satellites in orbit, the signals are getting just completely getting intercepted by the satellites. Last year, we started to see interference signals in the sky. We managed to trace them to some of the Starlink satellites from the first generation that were orbiting above the Earth. Jessica Dempsey, scientific and general director of the Netherlands Institute for Radio Astronomy, told The Independent on the 19th September. SpaceX now has a constellation of more than 6,000 satellites in orbit, providing high-speed internet to almost anywhere on Earth. Starlink satellites have been emitting unintended electromagnetic radiation, which the LOFAR astronomers believe to be far from faulty batteries. So they're not supposed to be doing that, but they probably chipped down the batteries, and now they are. They spoke with SpaceX about mitigating techniques last year and felt optimistic the problem was being addressed. Well, yeah, but these are probably the first-gen satellites, right? So they have to take them out of orbit and then, replace them with a version 2. But when the astronomers went to make observations in July, they found that SpaceX updated Starlink version 2 mini satellites were causing even more interference. Oh man, how can you fuck it up that bad? SpaceX has launched even more satellites since then. Starlink was emitting over 30 times more emissions, and now not just a few of all, but all of the satellites. Frankly, we were shocked, Dempsey said. The brightness in particular frequency bands of these new satellites compared to what we're looking at is about 10 million times brighter. Wow! The equivalent would be you trying to look at that beautiful faintest star you can see with your own eye on a dark night, and then the full moon rises next to it. Oh, yeah, that's going to be a little hard to see the star when the full moon is right next to it. SpaceX did not respond to requests or comment by the Independent because they're guilty of fucking up the sky. Worst part, Dempsey said, is the problem is only growing. They're launching 40 of these full moons every week. Right now, there's about 6,000 Starlink satellites up there, but there's intended to be 100,000 total future satellites. So imagine 100,000 full moons up there. Then we can really say goodbye to any kind of astronomy that we would hope to do from the ground. Yep, they're gonna have to start. They're gonna have to start doing it from the space, which means they're gonna have to send trained astronomers through a space program so they can launch them into space. I don't think that's what's gonna happen. I think we're gonna probably use those satellites to control an orbital telescope to look at stuff, but it's still not the same as just being there in the actual telescope room, and doing it yourself. And you have to use technology now. Dempsey and colleagues recently published findings in the Journal of Astronomy and Astrophysics that showed nearly all Starlink satellites they observed were emitting electromagnetic radiation that could interfere with observations. She said the intent of the astronomy group was not to tell companies to get rid of satellites, but rather to get them to operate within the rules so that they can continue their scientific observations. The UN has regulations on the protected bands and frequencies, and those protected bands are there so that the astronomy can do its work. The matter of whether those regulations are supported by anyone who has the power to do so, Dempsey said. Yeah. So I guess if you care about seeing the stars in the sky, you need to start lobbying your government and say, hey, fucking fine or do something against SpaceX because they're clogging up the sky with their damn noisy satellites. They're, you know, if you need to, I'm sure those electromagnetic radiation, you know, you could say, oh, they're making me go crazy with all that extra electromagnetic radiation. There are people out there who are anti-technology, right? They do believe that, which I mean, it could be true. I don't know. I'm not a scientist, but they believe that all the radio waves from like phones and Wi-Fi and all of that is actually like reprogramming our brains, and it's not healthy for you. Humans aren't supposed to be absorbing that much that much radiation from magnetrons and electromagnetic radiation. So maybe it will affect us in the future. Not now, but maybe millions of years in the future we'll be able to be telepathic because of all those radiative waves in our brains. Those are my two stories. So protect the cows in, where I am, in Northern Europe and the Nordics, and tell your government to tell SpaceX to stop radiating the sky.
Well, it's those StarLink satellites, huh?
Yeah.
Where he's giving everybody
they're doing something 10 times stronger than they're supposed to be. Right? They're supposed to be not that strong, but they're 10 times stronger than what the regulations require.
Right. He doesn't care about regulations. Why should he, right? There's no price to be paid when you're rich.
Exactly.
Oh, they're going to fine you. Oh, okay. Here's 10% of 1% of what I made today, or whatever.
Yeah, right.
Okay, we've had technical glitches, and I'm going to read this story for the third time. So
hopefully it works the third time, right?
Citing it from memory at this point. Okay, this is from ABC 30 from Kentucky. We have Kentucky news. ABC 30, which is a television station in Kentucky, imagine. Lexington, I believe. Body discovered near site of Kentucky Interstate shooting believed to be shooter, police say. Kentucky State Police officials announced on Wednesday the 12th day of a manhunt for a suspect wanted a connection with the interstate shooting that wounded 5 people. That they discovered body not too far from where the incident took place. Actually, they get a tip from a civilian, but I guess they're just going to take full credit. Kentucky State Police Trooper Scotty Pennington said in a statement that investigators are working to determine the identity of the body found in the vicinity of Exit 49 in Laurel County. Investigators hunting for the suspect in an interstate shooting said Wednesday that they had found a body near the location where the incident took place. Investigators are looking for Joseph Couch, 32, who they said was armed and dangerous and the prime suspect of the September 7th incident that took place on Interstate 75 near London, Kentucky. The Laurel County Sheriff's Office said 20 to 30 shots were fired from a hillside near I-75 Exit 49, striking at least a dozen vehicles. Couch was initially named as a person of interest after deputies found his SUV abandoned on a forest road near Exit 49, officials said. An AR-15 rifle Couch purchased in the hours before the shooting and investigators believe was used in the incident was also found in the woods near Couch's vehicle, along with a bag with Couch's name written on it, officials said. The day after the shooting, Couch was upgraded to primary suspect. In addition to searching for the national forest, a tip prompted the investigators this week to search a home in Laurel County, but found no evidence of Couch having been there. Before the interstate shooting, according to the arrest warrant, a Laurel County 911 dispatcher received a call from a woman who alleged Couch texted her before the interstate shooting and advised he was going to kill a lot of people. Well, try at least. The text message was sent to the woman at 5:03 p.m. on September 7th, about a half hour before the interstate shooting started, according to the arrest warrant. Couch sent another message to the woman that read, in part, "I'll kill myself afterwards," according to the arrest warrant. Tuesday's search for Couch continues to focus on the thick woods of Daniel Boone National Forest, according to Kentucky State Police. Both state and federal teams combined combed at least 28,000 acres of more than 700,000 acre national forest. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear said additional state resources were being made available to help the ongoing search efforts. The manhunt prompted local schools to close for a week. They were open Tuesday under heavy police guard. "We will not live our lives in fear," Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear said during a news conference on Tuesday. The school district said in a statement that reopening plan prioritizes the safety of our students and staff. Okay, there's your story. ripping through it as fast as I can before my thing locks up. And here we go back to Kentucky for another story. This is even more shooting in Kentucky. This is from Lexington18.com, which I think is another TV station in Lexington, Kentucky. Lecter County District Judge dead after allegedly being shot by Lecter County Sheriff. KSP Trooper Matt... Oh, this is from Rosemary Kelly Van Jones of the web staff of Lex.com. Lex18.com. KSP Trooper Matt Gayhart said in a press conference on Thursday evening that multiple agencies responded to shots fired at the Lecter County Courthouse at approximately 3 p.m. on Thursday. When they arrived, they found 54-year-old Lecter County District Judge Kevin Mullins from Jackhorn with multiple gunshot wounds. Life-saving measures were attempted, but Mullins was pronounced dead at the scene. Trooper Gayhart said that the preliminary investigation alleged that 43-year-old Lecter County Sheriff Sean M. Steins from McRoberts fatally shot McMullins after an argument inside chambers. Gayhart added that the motive was unclear and that no one else inside the judge's chambers when the incident occurred. Gayhart said that Steins was taken into custody without incident following the shooting and has been charged with 1 count of first-degree murder. Gayhart also said that Steins has been a sheriff for 8 years and at this time is unclear who the interim sheriff will be. Basically, anybody could do a better job than this guy. Chief Justice Van Meter released a statement saying in part, "I am shocked by this act of violence and the court system is shaken by this news." According to the Mountain Eagle, Lecter County District Judge Kevin Mullins has died following a Thursday afternoon shooting at the Lecter County Courthouse. In a post made to Facebook, the newspaper said the officials arrested. Okay, so according to a post on Facebook, the newspaper said the officials arrested Sheriff Mickey Steins in connection with the shooting after he surrendered himself to police. Governor Andy Beshear, we're talking about again, confirmed Mullins' death via X. Sadly, I've been informed that a district judge in Lecter County was shot and killed in his chambers this afternoon. There's far too much violence in this world, and I pray there's a path to a better tomorrow. Kentucky Attorney General Russell Coleman announced via Facebook that following the shooting, the Office of the Attorney General will calibrate with the 27th Judicial Circuit, Jackie Steele. We will fully investigate and pursue justice, Coleman said. Kentucky Auditor Allison Ball posted on social media that she was praying for Lecter County and Judge Mullins. May God protect this community and all those involved in the shooting. Well, that ain't gonna stop a bullet. More thoughts and prayers that don't do a damn thing. Press release from the Kentucky Court of Justice said that the office was aware of the tragic incident and took place in Lecter County. The release went on to say that branches contact the law enforcement agencies and are offering full support during this time. So there's your story. Not a whole lot of updates. We basically know who's dead. We know who the killer is. All we don't know is the motive. So back to you.
We have no idea what killed him, but he definitely was killed, you know?
We know what killed him. A bunch of bullets killed him.
Yeah.
We just don't know why.
I just
we don't know why the sheriff decided to shoot.
No, I'm just making a joke. I'm just making a joke because of the elector who was like, "Oh, I can't. What a tragic thing," you know. like he got hit by a tree, you know, like it was a natural occurrence. Thoughts and prayers. That tree hit your house and killed you, you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like.
Yeah.
What she should have said is something like, I'm appalled that a sheriff of that county decided to take the law into his own hands, and that's what I would have said. Not, oh, tragic thing happened in Kentucky. We're not going to say what, but it's just tragic, okay? Don't worry about it.
No. It was just some government official.
Yeah, it was just political pandering.
Political
pandering. Okay. Speaking of political pandering, well, I don't even know if there's political pandering in this, but the French Prime Minister, yes, Michel Barnier, who got voted in as the new Prime Minister, and famously, I guess, a bit of a questionable leadership for France, is here to present the 2025 budget just in time to the Parliament next month. And it said on the 18th of September that the budgetary situation requires more than just pretty statements. So this is on Le Monde with AFP. France's budgetary situation is very serious, Prime Minister Michel Barnier told Agence France Presse, AFP, on the 18th of September, saying more information was needed to gauge the precise reality of public finances. France was placed on a formal procedure for violating European Union budgetary rules before Barnier became head of the government earlier this month, while the Bank of France warned this week that a projected return to EU deficit rules by 2027 was not realistic. France's public deficit is projected to reach around 5.6% of the GDP this year and go over 6% in 2025, which compares to with EU rules calling for a 3% ceiling on deficits. So they are going double the ceiling they're supposed to go, and that's going to be a bit hard to get back down. Barnier, appointed by President Emmanuel Macron after the protracted wrangling in the wake of an inconclusive parliamentary election, has floated possible tax rises to help stabilize finances and measures Macron has ruled out during the 7 years he has been president. I am discovering that the country's budgetary situation is very serious, Barnier said in a statement to AFP. This situation requires more than just pretty statements. It requires responsible action, he said. Within days of taking office in early September, Barnier said in an interview that French people want more justice in terms of fiscal policy, while several politicians have reported that Prime Minister mentioning possible tax increases in private conversations. Uh-oh, we're already getting the, well, he said this behind closed doors, political movements. Such a move would be a red rag to the allies of Macron, who oversaw cuts in the corporate tax rate from 33.3 to 25. Boo! Tax them more! As well as tax reductions for households, including the wealthiest taxpayers. Boo! Tax them more! Macron has claimed...
That's right.
Damn rich people. Macron has claimed a reduction in the overall tax burden by 50 billion euros since he became president in 2017. So they've lost 50 billion euros somewhere. Interior Minister Gérald Darmanin, a staunch Macron ally, said on the 18th of September that it was out of the question to join or even back a government that raises taxes on the wealthy. Yeah, woohoo! Raise the taxes on the wealthy and the corporations. Fuck those guys.
That's where the money is.
That's where the fucking money is. It's hiding. That 50 billion is hiding under there since 2017. But years of extra spending during the COVID pandemic, combined with sluggish growth, have caused the French deficit to balloon. I wonder why, sparking the excessive deficit procedure by the EU, which is designed to force a country to negotiate a plan with Brussels to get their deficit or debt levels back on track. Finance Minister Bruno Le Maire, who is to be replaced soon, promised to bring the deficit back below 3% by 2027, but many analysts have dismissed the plan as implausible. Yeah, good luck, buddy, without raising the taxes on the rich. France's central bank governor, François Villeroy de Gallois, said that this week the objective was not realistic unless the government was willing to risk stopping growth in its tracks. Sometimes you do if you want to keep that deficit down. Tighter fiscal policies could put Barnier on a collision course with Macron, who appointed the experienced politician, best known internationally as the EU's former chief Brexit negotiator, in the hope that he can survive an early no-confidence vote in Parliament. We want a stable fiscal policy that does not undermine policies that cause unemployment to fall and our country's attractiveness to rise, said Jean-René Cazeneuve, a Assembly National MP and Macron's ally. It would be a dreadful error to go back on this. Tax questions likely to deepen budding tensions between Macron and Barnier, who is said to have been irritated that the president did not consult him about nominating Foreign Minister Stéphane Séjourné to the EU Commission. New Prime Minister, who has yet to appoint a cabinet, is to submit a 2025 budget to Parliament next month in what is expected to be the first major test for the incoming administration. I'm sure they're just gonna pull down taxes on the wealthy again. I don't think they're raising taxes on the poor, right? But they're not raising taxes on the rich, and they need to. It sounds like they really need to.
Right.
But Macron, I think, is taking the side of any tax raises as bad, even if it's on people who are making billions or millions a year. It's still bad, you know? Nobody is raising taxes ever for anybody, even if you know, all their corporations are making billions every year. We're not touching any of that money. They can put it in an offshore account.
Maybe taxes are already high.
Maybe.
If taxes are already high, it might be a problem.
Well, like I said, it's 25%. That's probably high for you, you know, as an American. But also, you're not a corporation. So the only way I could really get an opinion on this is talking to somebody who's like a CEO, and then they go, yeah, 25 is too high. And then I say, why is it too high? And they say, because I'm from America and I get 12. And then that's the only reason, you know, that they would say that 25 is too high, is because they have it lower, even though it's a different currency, a different economic climate than in France. But yeah. For more news, let's look at Germany stopping weapons exports to Israel. This is an Al Jazeera. Germany faces mounting pressure from legal cases arguing that German weapons exports to Israel breach humanitarian law. Germany has put a hold on new exports of weapons of war to Israel while it deals with legal challenges, according to the Reuters news agency. A source close to the Ministry of Economy cited a senior government official as saying it had stopped working on approving export licenses for arms to Israel due to legal and political pressure from legal cases arguing that such exports from Germany breached humanitarian law. The ministry has not responded to requests for comment. However, the German government did issue a statement after Reuters story was published. There is no German arms export boycott against Israel, government spokesperson Stefan Heberstreit said. Last year, Germany approved arms exports to Israel worth 326.5 million euros or $336.5 million, including military equipment and war weapons, a tenfold increase from 2022, according to data from the Economy Ministry, which approves export licenses. However, approvals have dropped this year, with only 14.5 million euros worth, or $16.1 million granted from January to August 21st, according to data provided by the Economy Ministry in response to the parliamentary question. Of this, the weapons of war category accounted for only 32,449 euros, or $36,000. In its defense of the two cases, one before International Court of Justice and one in Berlin brought by the European Center for Constitutional and Human Rights, the government has said that no weapons of war have been exported under any license issued since October 7th's Hamas attack on Israel, apart from the spares for long-term contracts, the source added. Israel's assault on Gaza has killed more than 41,000 Palestinians since October 7th, according to Gaza's Ministry of Health. It has also displaced most of the population of 2.3 million, caused a hunger crisis, and led to genocide allegations at the World Court, which Israel denies. Because nobody's going to say, you're right, I did do a genocide and I'm proud. Nobody's ever going to say that. No case challenging Germany's arms exports to Israel has yet succeeded, including a case brought by Nicaragua at the ICJ. So basically, to go over what that's saying, all those numbers, is that Germany has exported to Israel, but they haven't exported to Israel since October 7th, when they actually started, bombing Palestine. Could have they been using previous exports from Germany? Yes. But, their argument is they're not guilty of assisting a genocide because they haven't given recently any weapons to Israel. What they previously owned since, 2022 is out of their hands, right? They're not guilty of that. I kind of agree with them. You can't really say, hey, you're guilty of helping a genocide when it happened. They had the weapons before the genocide happened. I think you can only actively help a genocide if you're in the genocide at that moment and saying, here's some weapons for your genocide. You're welcome. Please use them with impunity. I don't think Germany's doing that, so I have to kind of agree with Germany on not being guilty of assisting a genocide. But the issue has created friction within the government as the Chancellery maintains its support for Israel, while the Greens-led economy and foreign ministries, sensitive to criticism from party members, have increasingly criticized the administration of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Legal challenges across Europe have also led other allies of Israel to pause or suspend arms exports. The United Kingdom this month suspended 30 out of 350 licenses for arms exports to Israel due to the concerns that Israel could be violating international humanitarian law. In February, a Dutch court ordered the Netherlands to halt all exports of F-35 fighter jets parts to Israel over concerns about their use in attacks on civilian targets in Gaza. President Joe Biden administration this year paused and then resumed shipments of some bombs to Israel after U.S. concerns about their use in densely populated areas in Gaza. Nice political maneuvering there. Approvals and shipments of other types of weapons in more precise systems continued as U.S. officials maintained that Israel needed the capacity to defend itself. Alexander Schwartz, a lawyer at the European Center for Constitutional and Human Rights, which has filed 5 lawsuits against Berlin, suggested that the significant decline in approvals for 2024 indicated a genuine, though possibly temporary, reluctance to supply weapons to Israel. However, I would not interpret this as a conscious change in policy, Schwartz added. So, the German government is split on whether they want to accept or they want to support Israel, or they want to deny all allegations of supporting Israel between the Greens. I mean, yeah, it's hard because their chancellery, like kind of the top of the government is like, yeah, Israel. But then the people who actually control the foreign ministries are like, no, Israel, that's bad optics, guys. It's bad optics. So only time will tell, and of course history will tell, what we think about Germany and all the other European countries out there that are supporting Israel in the war on Gaza. Hello, Outlaw Tiger OG. Welcome to the new show where we deal with technical issues because I lost my dad. He's disconnected from Discord now, and I'm assuming he's resetting his computer.
Okay, hacker
there
news.
You are.
We have hacker news. All right, more hacker news today. We have Iranian hackers and Chinese hackers. This is from Gizmodo. Actually, both stories are from Gizmodo. Matthew Galt on this one. Iranian hackers stole sensitive information from the Defendant J. Trump campaign and chopped it around to the Biden campaign and several media outlets. According to federal investigators, the hackers sent unsolicited emails to Biden's campaign staff over the summer, but no one replied. The FBI, the Office of Director of National Intelligence, and Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agencies released a joint statement on Wednesday explaining the plot. It said the hackers sent the emails in late June and early July that contained excerpt taken from stolen non-public material from Defendant J. Trump's campaign as text in the emails. There is currently no information indicating those recipients replied. Trump, of course, decided that, the FBI caught Iran spying, and they're just giving our information, and there's cheating, and then Kamala needs to resign. I'm a big baby. I'm a 5-year-old. And he puts it in all caps because he's a child.
Yep.
Harris was not running for president when Iran sent the emails to the Biden campaign. Carolyn Levitt, Trump's press secretary, said the Iranians want Harris to win because they know Trump was... shut up, idiot. Let's just skip whatever the hell she said. Harris campaign spokesman Morgan Finkelstein said that no one in the campaign was aware they'd been sent hacked materials. A few individuals were targeted in their personal emails with what looked like a spam or a phishing attempt, she said in a statement to the press. We condemn the strongest terms any effort by foreign actors to interfere with U.S. elections, including those unwelcome and unacceptable malicious activity. Why do they go to the Trump campaign for quotes? All they're going to do is make shit up that never fucking happened. Nobody even answered the fucking emails, dude. Nobody even opened them. They said, that looks like phishing. Delete. That's what happens. That's what happens to all my emails I get from unknown people. Spam. Never get to hear from them again. Did you know my Netflix account's been canceled every day for the last 4 years? I get that email every single day, at least 3 times, telling me my Netflix account's been canceled. I'm like, I don't care. Cancel it. I think that's going to get my attention for some reason. Hasn't yet. Last month, both Google and Microsoft released reports about a wave of phishing attacks that have been targeting both Trump and Biden-Harris campaigns. Both teams of cybersecurity analysts put the blame on Iranian groups connected to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. Microsoft detailed the attack, saying the hackers had sent a spear phishing attack to campaign officials via the compromised email account of former senior advisor. See, here's the thing. Trump advisors open the phishing emails and get hacked. Biden advisors are smart, and they don't open the phishing emails. Wow. How about that? Smart gets you somewhere. The email contained a link that would direct traffic through a domain controlled by the group before routing to the website of the provided link. Within days of this activity, the same group unsuccessfully attempted to log into an account belonging to a former presidential candidate. According to CNN, the former senior advisor was Roger Stone. He's an idiot. He's got a tattoo of Nixon on his back. What a weirdo. At the time, Politico reported that it had received anonymous emails from AOL account shopping around internal communications from the Trump campaign. An offer was a 271-page research dossier on J.B. Vance. I wonder if there's anything about him and couches in there. When Politico asked AOL account how it came by the documents, it gave a cryptic answers. I suggest you don't be curious about where I got them. Any answer to this question will compromise me and also legally restrict you from publishing them. Instead, the FBI and other federal agencies said it's continuing to investigate the hackers. Foreign actors are increasing their election interference activities as we approach November. In particular, Russia, Iran, and China are trying to, in some measure, to exacerbate divisions in the U.S. society for their own benefit and see election periods as a moment of vulnerability, the agencies said in a joint statement. It's time to learn from this. They want Trump to win because they know it makes America weak. That's just the bottom line. If Trump thinks anybody else makes America weak, well, he's an idiot. So there's your story on the hackers from Iran. Here's this one from China. This is from Gizmodo also. Matt Novak. FBI shuts down botnet run by Beijing-backed hackers that hijacked over 200,000 devices. U.S. authorities have dismantled a massive botnet run by hackers backed by the Chinese government, according to the speech given by the FBI Director Christopher Wray on Wednesday. The botnet malware infected a number of different types of internet-connected devices around the world, including home routers, cameras, digital video recorders, and NAS drives. These devices were used to help infiltrate sensitive networks related to universities, government agencies, telecommunication providers, and media organizations. Ray explained that the operation at the Aspen Digital Conference and said the hackers worked for a Beijing-based company called Integrity Technology Group, which is also known to U.S. researchers as Flax Typhoon. The botnet was launched in mid-2021, according to the FBI, and infected roughly 260,000 devices as of June of this year. The operation to dismantle the botnet was coordinated by the FBI, the NSA, the Cyber National Mission Force, the CNMF. According to the press release dated Wednesday, the U.S. Department of Justice received a court order to take control of the botnet infrastructure by sending disabling comments to the malware on infected devices. The hackers tried to counterattack by hitting FBI infrastructures, but were ultimately unsuccessful, according to the law enforcement agency. About half of the devices hijacked were in the U.S., according to Ray, but there were also devices identified as compromised in South America, Europe, Africa, Southeast Asia, Australia. And the DOJ noted that a press release that authorities in Australia, Canada, New Zealand, and the UK all helped take down the botnet. Ray stressed that the private industry working with the FBI could help those companies save money, claiming that firms saved about $800 million in ransomware payments in just 2 years by working with the agency after getting hacked. The DOJ press release said that the operation to take down the botnet did not affect legitimate functions or collect content information from the infected devices, and the FBI said it would contact the ISPs of anyone whose devices were used in the botnet operation. The ISPs are the ones who are expected to notify the end users, internet service providers. That's what ISP stands for, by the way. The ISPs are the ones who are expected to notify the end users about both the compromise from the hackers and the FBI's own intrusion into their devices. The Department of Justice was quick to note that only one that was only done with one. Was quick to note that was only done with a court order. I don't know why I had trouble reading that. The Justice Department is zeroing in on Chinese government-backed hacking groups that targeted the devices of innocent Americans and pose a serious threat to our national security. Attorney General Merrick Garland said in a statement on Wednesday. As we did earlier this year, the Justice Department has again destroyed a botnet used by PRC-backed hackers to infiltrate consumer devices here in the United States and around the world. Garland continued, using the acronym for the People's Republic of China. That's a PRC. We will continue to aggressively counter the threat that China's state-sponsored hacking groups pose to the American people. There's your story on hacking. Hopefully I didn't drop off in the middle of that one.
Yep, you're
good. Still there. All right. There's your stories.
And thank you, Anastasia Constantinou, for subscribing to the channel, because I just got that.
Right on. You're number one. You're
Hello.
number one.
All right. Let's go ahead and look at our next culture segment here. We're going to be talking about two stories: Mozart's undiscovered music and Heritage Days in Europe. First story coming off of The Guardian by Agent France Press in Leipzig. A previously unknown piece of music composed by Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart when he was probably in his early teens has been uncovered at a library in Germany. The piece dates to the mid to late 1760s and consists of 7 miniature movements for a string trio lasting about 12 minutes. The Leipzig Municipal Library said in a statement on the 19th of September. So this song is older than the United States. Born in 1756, so this is Mozart was a child prodigy and began composing at a very early age under his father's guidance. Researchers discovered the work at the city's music library while compiling the latest edition of the Kochel Catalog, the definitive archive of Mozart's musical works. The newly discovered manuscript was not written by Mozart himself, but is believed to be a copy made in about 1780, the researchers said. Okay, so maybe it was something he wrote in his younger years and then recopied it. Maybe added some extra stuff, who knows. The piece was performed by a string trio at the unveiling of the new Kochel catalog in the Austrian city of Salzburg on the 19th of September, which was yesterday, Thursday. It will receive its German premiere at Leipzig Opera on Saturday. So I guess it's probably too late to get tickets, but maybe you can meet somebody who's going and they can film a little video for you so you can hear this premiere at the opera. The piece is referred to as Ganz kleine Nachtmusik. Okay, so that's like small night music. In the catalog, according to Leipzig libraries, the manuscript consists of a dark brown ink on medium white handmade paper, and the parts are individually bound, they said. Wow, for you paper kink people out there, what a great description of dark brown ink on medium white handmade paper. I don't know why they described that, but I guess there's people out there who need to know that detail. The Kochel catalog describes the piece as preserved in a single source, in which the attribution of the author suggests that the work was written before Mozart's first trip to Italy, according to the municipal libraries. So there's your music update there on Mozart.
Cool.
And bringing back a child prodigy's one of his first ever written manuscripts to the opera on Saturday. Sorry?
Hopefully it's not like when they find old recordings of John Lennon and they try to update it and make it, and it's like everybody's I'm really excited about this.
Playing it straight. I think
new John Lennon song. Right.
New John Lennon song.
No, everybody's excited about this new Beatles song, and then it's kind of
modernized.
I never have to listen to that again. You know, it's like it wasn't even good. That wouldn't even made it on their worst album. You know, but hey, we found an old recording and the Beatles added stuff to it. And I'm like, okay, it's still not that good. Anyway, hopefully it's not like that.
No, I don't think so. I think it's just the straight vanilla manuscript. Okay, speaking of
vanilla,
culture,
it's not that good. It's like Chopsticks. He wrote Chopsticks, right?
We're going to be celebrating European Heritage Days in the coming, the coming year. So in the next 365 days. So events in Austria, Belgium, Germany, and Ireland have already finished, but there are still plenty more upcoming in other countries. This is by Rebecca Ann Hughes on Euronews Culture. This autumn, dozens of cultural events are taking place across Europe as part of the annual European Heritage Days, a joint initiative of the Council of Europe and the European Commission. So everyone can remember that not only are we all in a union together, but we're also different from each other, and we should appreciate our differences. Over 40 countries on the continent are inviting the public to learn more about everything, from national monuments to rituals and traditions. The events follow an annual theme, which this year is Heritage of Routes, Networks, and Connections. Every year, the European Heritage Days unite millions of Europeans around their shared historical and cultural heritage, says Ilyana Ivanova, European Commissioner of Innovation, Research, Culture, Education, and Youth. This is a great way to ensure that our common European heritage is understood, treasured, and protected for future generations, while at the same time bringing economic benefits to local communities through tourism. Nations will highlight how the movement of people, ideas, and culture across time and space have shaped the built environment, monuments, and streets, as well as intangible cultural practices such as rituals, languages, and, of course, food. This year's program kicked off in Lithuania and included the centenary of Baltic song and dance celebrations. With a nod to the theme of routes, networks, and connections, the country also shone a spotlight on the Baltic Way, a peaceful political demonstration which we've talked about on the anniversary of it. We talked about it. It took place in 1989 and saw 2 million people create a human chain across Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia against Russian invasion. Well, I guess Soviet rule. Events in Austria, Belgium, and Germany and Ireland have already finished, but there are still plenty more upcoming. So, this weekend, on the 21st and 22nd of September, head to France. This year, Journée Européenne de Patrimoine follow the annual theme with activities about transport heritage, communication technologies, and cultural practices. Visitors can explore transhumance routes, historic trails used seasonally by herders to move livestock, and France's maritime heritage, including lighthouses and ports. Other events spotlight underwater archaeology, aquaculture, festivals, and relating to the sea. In Luxembourg on the 27th, so that's going to be the next weekend, to the 6th. Oh, it's even longer. That's like a whole week. The 27th to the 6th. Yeah, that's Friday to Sunday. So there's a whole week from Friday to Sunday of Luxembourg's European Heritage Days program, which will focus on interconnections of European cultural heritage. This event will celebrate the cultural routes of Council of Europe, and visitors can participate in walks and guided tours exploring heritage development. From Malta, from the 4th to the 14th of October, so that's from Friday, also another week, I think. Oh, that's even 2 weeks. That's 4th, 11th, and then the 14th Monday of October, so it's almost a week and a half in Malta. Highlights European Heritage Days in the Nota Bianca Festival. This annual event, which takes place on the first Saturday of October, is one of the country's largest arts and culture celebrations. For one night, the entire capital city of Valletta transforms into a vibrant canvas of live performances, concerts, and art installations. The city's streets, piazzas, churches, state palaces, and museums become buzzing venues, while cafes and restaurants stay open until late into the night. On the 21st of September, which is tomorrow, Romania's Zile Europene al Patrimoniului are based
Jesus.
Lui. No, it's a lot of UIs. Patrimoniului are based on the themes of cultural corridors. Europeans' routes of heritage objectives and highlight the movement and connections between people, goods, ideas since prehistoric times. Visitors can expect guided trails, the opening of historic buildings and exhibitions about both built and intangible heritage, as well as a variety of events designed for young people. Slovenia, happening on the 28th to the 12th, so that sounds like another 2 week. Monday 28th to the 12th, which is on a Tuesday, so yeah, that's like 2 week bout in Slovenia of Denvi Evropske kulturne design. I don't know Slovak, so I apologize. I don't even know what Slovak sounds like. We'll highlight trails around the country, as well as explore connections through the common values. Maybe I should put this in like a announce to this and see what it says. How to pronounce. Then I'll know what it sounds like.
Oh. Right. Pronunciations.
I didn't get anything. They're not going to tell me how to pronounce it. Curse you! Okay. We'll never know that.
You're close enough.
Go explore a connection through common values, cultural practices, and the sharing of stories which make up a collective identity. Events include a children's bike ride-along, the cultural route of St. Martin, and a lecture about olfactory heritage, discussing the importance of smells in cultural practices and shared memory. Like the smell of food, the smell of incense, the smell of your grandma. Spain. This is the entirety of September to November, so it's happening right now. We're already in the middle of it, basically. In Spain, the Jornadas Europees del Patrimonio will encourage the exploration of intercultural dialogue, physical and digital connections, and how the flow of people and ideas and influence everything from buildings to food and language. Events include an underground wine tourism experience in the subterranean cellars of wineries in Burgos, and the series of itineraries connecting people with nature in Arlanza. Don't forget, even though they're not part of the EU, the United Kingdom is still part of Europe, and they have a heritage to celebrate. So in the UK, you can still catch doors open days in Scotland, where dozens of buildings, usually closed to the public, are open for visits and guided tours. Everyone come on in, all doors are open. This year's theme is highlighted at a 1940 police box in Edinburgh, with an exhibition exploring the connection between the city-wide police force and the general public, and a Blackmanshire's Alloa Mosque, focusing on historic links between Scotland and the Muslim world. So check those out. Get your tickets to Europe if you can, and you can definitely go to Spain. Spain's is happening until November, so that's definitely one you can do. I don't think a lot of people will be able to make it to Romania for tomorrow, but I could probably make it to Romania. I can probably get on a train, maybe make it for that. But check those events out and have a good European heritage celebration, because even people in America have some heritage to celebrate out there.
It sounds like Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Milwaukee has every weekend they have a different ethnic celebration.
Yeah.
Whatever,
of all the people who make up the city. Yeah. Multiculturalism.
It's Polish American League, then it's German American League, then it's African American League. That's it's every week all summer long when Milwaukee does that. So it's very popular. Actually, New York has a lot of those too. New York is like really represented by the world. All right, so on to this day in history. 1519, on this day, Portuguese explorer Ferdinand Magellan departed from Sanlúcar de Barrameda, Spain. Speaking of things that are hard to pronounce. On a quest to circumnavigate the globe. Although he died during the voyage, the expedition achieved this goal. So Magellan didn't cross the globe. His crew did. 1761, the Portuguese Jesuit Gabriel Malagrida was burned to death for his involvement in the conspiracy of the Tavoras. So more Portuguese news. They weren't sailing around the world, they were burning people to death. 1792, the French Legislative Assembly was replaced by the National Convention, making the formal beginnings of the First Republic. Of course, that was the French Revolution. 1854, British and French forces defeated the Russians at the Battle of Alma, a victory-led Russian naval base of Sevastopol, vulnerable and endangered the entire Russian position in the Crimean War. And of course, Crimea, once again occupied by Russia. 1886, the South African city of Johannesburg was founded. In 1946, delayed because of World War II, the first Cannes Film Festival, or is it Cannes Film Festival? I think it's Cannes Film Festival, began, and it became one of the cinema's major annual events. 1973, the much publicized Battle of the Sexes tennis match. Billie Jean King defeated Bobby Riggs on this day on September 20th, 1973. Also on that same exact day, 1973, Jim Croce died. On his way to performing his second concert of the day, U.S. singer-songwriter Jim Croce was killed with 5 others when his chartered aircraft hit a tree on takeoff in Louisiana. Jim Croce was like a hit-making machine. He was like CCR type, like one after the other. Bad Boy, Leroy Brown, You Don't Mess Around with Jim, Time in a Bottle, I've Got a Name. There's like 5 or 6 more. And he was a hit-making machine, but tried to do 2 concerts in one day and his plane crashed. One day after Graham Parsons died, so it's a bad week in 1973 to be a rock and roll singer. Also a bad week to be Bobby Riggs, who lost on this date to Billie Jean King in the Battle of the Sexes tennis match. Anyway, in 1998, American professional baseball player Cal Ripken ended his streak of 2,632 consecutive games played. He decided, I'm going to take the day off. And now that I'm 40, and I played every game. 2011, Don't Ask, Don't Tell, a U.S. military policy was officially ended. A U.S. military policy that theoretically lifted a ban on homosexuals in the armed forces, provided that individuals kept their sexuality private, which defeats the purpose of having any kind of... It was a bad policy.
No,
it was just a terrible policy, right? We encourage you to be deceptive, is what they're saying, right?
How am I supposed to trust? How are you supposed to trust your fellow soldier if you don't know if they're lying to you about being gay or not? You know, like, what the hell? Who cares if you're gay? Right. You're all dying in a freaking place anyway. Who cares?
Well, the reason it was not allowed in the military to begin with is because you can get blackmailed over it. But if you're keeping it secret, it's more likely you're going to get blackmailed, isn't it?
Exactly. Hello.
So Don't Ask, Don't Tell actually worked for the blackmail contingency, you know. 2017, Hurricane Maria struck Puerto Rico, causing more than $90 billion in damages, according to government officials, nearly 3,000 deaths, and, of course, Donald Trump gave them some paper towels. Anyway, our featured event today is in 1870, Rome was incorporated in Italy. I always thought Rome was part of Italy, but not really. On this day in 1870, Italian troops occupied Rome, leading to the eventual incorporation of Rome into the Kingdom of Italy and the limiting of papal governing authority to the Vatican itself and a small district around it. There you go, Pope. You can have your little country, but we're taking the rest. Take that, Rome. Also, our feature biography, Upton Sinclair, American novelist. Upton Sinclair, born September 20th, 1878, died November 25th of 1968. He lived to be 90. He was born in Baltimore, died in Bound Brook, New Jersey. Other birthdays today, Leo Strauss, American political philosopher, born in 1899. Red Auerbach, American basketball coach, born in 1917. Sophia Loren's birthday. If she's still alive, she's 90. Well, she's 90 if she's not still alive. So happy birthday, Sophia Loren. It's George R.R. Martin's birthday. He's born in 1948. Of course, his 2 middle names mean Railroad. George Railroad Martin. George, what did he write? Game of Thrones? I guess he's the Game of Thrones guy.
Yeah.
1954 birthday of Lloyd Blankfein. So there's all your birthdays for today. And what day is it today? It's a lot of things. It's National POW MIA Recognition Day, Prisoners of War, and Missing in Action. So remember those people that never came home. And a lot of them are still POWs missing in action, not declared dead, and their families never got any closure. And they're off in some awful field somewhere rotting away as a skeleton. National Tradesman Day, 3rd Friday in September. If you're a tradesman, an electrician, a plumber, somebody that gets their hands dirty, it's your day. National String Cheese Day, that delightful treat that is basically just mozzarella. Since mozzarella forms in strings, it's easy to peel it in strings. So it's Mozzarella String Cheese Day. National Punch Day, not violence. The actual drink, punch, is basically just a mix of various different fruit juices together, and it all ends up tasting like punch. And somebody pours some vodka in it, and everybody gets drunk without even knowing about it. And it's National Care for Kids Day, which I think should be every day. But hey, National Care for Kids, as opposed to not caring for kids. Kind of easy. National Fried Rice Day, and it's National Pepperoni Pizza Day. So you have your Asian cuisine, you have your Italian cuisine. You can choose today from several types of food and wash them down with punch. So there's your days for today. A long, long edition of Before Coffee on Friday, September 20th, 2024 on Before Pepperoni Pizza.
Man, now I want that for dinner instead of red rice, which is what I'm making for dinner today. But this has been Allison here from the Netherlands.
It's National Fried Rice Day.
To make Mexican food in the Netherlands. I call it Dutch Mex. I use ingredients that I can't find, and I use other ingredients instead. Like, there's no pinto beans here, so I use just normal brown beans.
No pinto beans?
Yeah, they don't make them. They have billions of other kind of beans, no pinto beans. And
they sell them dry?
So that's what I will be doing. And they're like jarred beans, right. So they're pretty nice, but yeah, it's not the same. But I'll be making refried beans and red rice later, and that's what we'll be eating for dinner because I'm all alone today.
Right on.
So I hope you guys have a good weekend. Get in a good mood for it as well. Go make some plans to celebrate some European heritage, and let's look at our. Oh wait, don't forget to subscribe if you're not already. Like Anastasia, who just subscribed. Be more like her. Subscribe. Ooh. Turn on that notification bell so you know when we go live, post a video. And of course, like this video if you enjoyed our huge Friday news dump where we covered all the stories that you could, especially about Kentucky. If you were living in Kentucky and you didn't know that stuff was happening, now you do, okay? It's happening.
Oh.
Sheriffs are shooting judges out there.
People in Kentucky know about it. I guarantee everybody in Kentucky knows about it.
But without further ado, let's go to our mic drop moment.
Started with the bass.
Some nice, classic rock, I guess, is what you'd call this now.
Jim Croce wrote most of his own songs, but he didn't write this one. This was written for a movie. I forget the movie. And I carry it with me like my daddy did, but I'm living the dream that he kept here. Moving me down the highway, rolling me down the highway.
Oh, look at that, the trio's blocks.
Right. Oh yeah, his accompanist, his guitar player there, that guy also died in a plane crash. I mean, everybody in his band, he's died, yeah. His son is touring, singing his songs. Has been for quite a while. Really sad. I really like Jim Croce. He had a lot of good songs.
Yeah. What is there a freaking...
You sticking with it all?
Orchestra happening right now? Where's the orchestra coming from?
It could be a tape track they're playing. Augmenting it. The drummer, you can see the drummer, can't you? Another rock star died in a plane crash.
Why does that keep on
Buddy
happening,
Holly
man?
and the big
They should just stay out of...
List them all.
All rock
Buddy
stars
Holly.
should stay out of planes.
Right, Buddy Holly, the Big Bopper, Richie Valens, Otis Redding, Stevie Ray Vaughan, well, that's a helicopter, Leonard Skinner, a lot of rock stars died in planes.
We're going
Doing
down.
too much, 2 shows in one day.
This is why rock stars take tour buses, you know? You can die in a tour bus crash, sure. But I think it's not as likely that you'll die from a tour bus crash. But you'll definitely die from a plane
the Buddy
crash.
Holly.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons. And follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.